Public education is a civil right.
That's right.
And we must build a movement to defend public education in this city. Thank you.
Before coming into this course, I had the understanding that race was something with great depths of complexity, a concept that has historically dealt with power relations, social structure, and political spectacles. What I did not know was that race fell under multiple categories of advantage points. For instance, race is not just simply a group of people under the sharing of common things, but it is a group of minorities or less than individuals in the eye of the imperialist or the Moor or the white or the Midwestern mind that exists for the sole purpose of benefiting from advantages economically, socially, politically, and it places others as others and displaces peoples from a sense of equality and a balance in ethnicity planes.
Education is a civil right,
Right.
not just for the rich and powerful, not just for the wealthy and well-connected, but for every single child in the state of Wisconsin. We will not, I repeat, we will not let this Jim Crow legislation take over our city.
I no longer see that there is an evident disparage of status between blacks and whites and browns and everyone else, but I recognize there is a vast lack of known history to the invisible whiteness, as Richard Dyer explains and expands upon in On the Matter of Whiteness in White Privilege, Essential Readings on the Other Side of Racism. To the social media visuals, to the advertisement industry, for instance, the PlayStation Portable PSP white billboard, that was so visually shocking that the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People issued a response even though it was outside of North America. To the way photography has been used throughout time, evidently seen in the use of visual doubling at the exhibition at Paris Exposition of 1900 by Dubois, and also in Portrait of William Bickerstaff by J.P. Ball and Son of 1896, that spoke back to the lynching of people with triptychs, so they weren't just dehumanized or seen dead. As stated by our professor Nicole Ridgway, it counters that history, it speaks of that history and makes it visible. To museum involvement also, as studied by Karin, Higa in Origin Myths, a short and incomplete history of Godzilla, the flourishment of inclusion of Asian Americans in museums and other representative realms in the art world, the 1993 Whitney Biennial, now referred to as the Political Biennial, explored the issue of race head-on. Godzilla was a way to open the door to the mindset that we could learn by looking, thinking, and talking about Asian American artists, and a door to institutional support, an Asian American Art Museum, to not only validate Asian American artists, but also to allow them to work outside of a de facto quota system operative among mainstream art institutions and thus representation and so much more. Through the in-service learning program in my job at MPS North Division, I have been able to understand a different culture than mine. I have had the chance to connect to levels that I feel a lot of us should, to be able to really feel the beauty in our differences that substantially exist and feel the urgency to help racism stop and support the education to enhance the success of equality. From the readings, I have been shocked and stunned, grown and explored, and most of all have been left with a million questions unanswered. I came to Milwaukee because at 15, I researched and found that it was the most segregated city in the US. I thought if I could just study here and learn and immerse myself in this reality, that I could help others do the same. That through art and social practice, I could one day work for the UN and help us answer the ultimate question, is almost everyone racist for not doing anything? From our readings, we have understood that performative utterances are essential to progress. From this question, we have sub-branches that overarch the rest of our issues. But if we can understand who is racist and how, then we can have a stronger feeling of responsibility for doing something about it, and thus make progress towards equality. I think that through the Student Artist in Residence Fellowship at UWM with Andy Basting as our mentor, and Elena Olsen Valdez as my co-fellow, we have come to reaffirm through research that people have a sense of defensiveness and frustration when merely touched on the topic of racism, and that perhaps if they understood about white race, about the unseen otherness that does still exist in races, and about the performative utterances, that then maybe they would transform such feelings into accountability, a sense of obligation or concern to own up to their stances on racism, and proactively help make our world a better place.